Engage. So hi everybody, welcome. This is our info session for people who are interested in the English MA program at the University of Massachusetts in Boston. Um, I'm going to share my screen with you so that you can kind of follow along with some of the things that we're going to talk about. The chat is open, and so we'll definitely save a little bit of time for questions at the end of this info session. But as questions come up as we're going, feel free to just interrupt or raise your hand or just pop it in the chat if you would prefer. That's absolutely fine. This is supposed to be informational, and so it's really for you. Whatever it is that you would like to talk about, we're here to talk about because we want to make sure that you have all of the information that you need and want. So bear with me for a moment while I try and share this. Okay, so hopefully you can all see a PowerPointy thing now, which looks pretty good. Aces, okay, I'm getting some thumbs up. So welcome. So we have our MA email address here. You can always send any questions that you have to that as well if things come up after this info session. But just to give you all a sense of who we are. So my name is Sarah. I am an associate professor of cinema studies and graphic literatures, and I am also the graduate program director for the MA program. So welcome to our info session. And I'll let everybody else kind of introduce themselves going down this list.
Hello, everybody. I'm Emilio Sari. I'm professor of English here in the department, and I teach and research American and Latin American literature as well as critical theory.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lauren Bowen. I'm an associate professor in the English department. I specialize in rhetoric and composition. I direct the first year composition program and the writing across the curriculum program. Nice to see you all.
Rhetoric and composition, not composition and rhetoric.
Yes.
Okay.
Hi everyone,
Noted.
this is Sumaya Akhtar. I'm an international student here at UMass Boston. This is my final semester and I'm concentrating on composition and also working as a teaching fellow. I teach Comp 101. Welcome everyone.
I'm Christina. I'm also a second year MA student. This is also my last semester. I'm focused on literature and I'm also teaching Comp 101.
And I'm Alec Langlewis. I am the current graduate program coordinator, and I'm also a graduate of the MA program. If you've been emailing with the MA program, you've been emailing with me, as you can see from Alec at the bottom. But any questions you have, be sure to give me an email. My email is also in the chat.
Awesome. All righty, everyone. So this is what we thought we'd talk a little bit about this evening. We'll begin with just a little overview of the program. We'll talk a little bit about the kinds of graduate seminars we offer and the final projects that our students do. We'll talk about the teaching opportunities in the program, the funding support that we can offer. Sumaya and Christina will talk about the student experience of being in the program. We'll talk a little bit about the application process. Alec and I will talk about the support we can offer you as you're working on the application and the joys that is our online application portal. And then, as I said, we'll have some time at the end for Q&A. But again, if questions come up in the conversation here, feel free to interrupt, raise your hand, or just throw them up in the chat. And Alec, then you interrupt me, and we'll go from there. So I wanted to start by just talking a little bit about kind of who we are as an MA program. We're a pretty small program. We currently have just over 40 students in the program. We usually have kind of 40 to 45 students in the program. And we're an interdisciplinary MA. We focus in literary studies broadly conceived, but we also do rhetoric and composition, creative writing, and we have a strong strength in pedagogy as well. We're the only public university in Boston. There are 17 universities in Greater Boston. 16 of them are private. We are the only public school. And we're right on the water. We have a beautiful view. Well, not right now, it's frozen and cold, but in the summertime, we have a beautiful harbor view where you can look out over the Atlantic Ocean. We offer a range of graduate seminars, we have assistantships, and also a series of extracurriculars and co-curricular opportunities that try to connect our students with the greater Boston community, as well as the larger intellectual communities in the region, as well as nationally. And we have a picture here of a recent graduate, Connor McMahon, who actually won a major memorial scholarship at 4Cs to go and present his research at the flagship Rhetoric and Composition Conference. So he's an excellent example of that kind of connection to those larger national and international conversations. He's also teaching here as a non-tenure line faculty member after he graduated. We have a very diverse student body. The undergraduate student body at UMass Boston is the most diverse student body in New England, and we carry that into our MA. Our students come from a wide range of different backgrounds and different investments. They come here for different reasons, some directly from undergraduates, some after some time working in various jobs, some are teachers, some are retirees looking to come back. We have a large student body from all around the world, as Sumaya here with us today can testify to. And we try and think about all of those different experiences in the classes and the opportunities that we offer. Because we are small, we pride ourselves on inclusion and flexibility, that we try and tailor our program to the students who are in it at the time. Because we are small, we can be quite nimble, and we try to think about how we can shape our extracurricular and co-curricular programming, as well as the seminars that we offer, so that they are speaking to the desires and investments of the students who are currently with us. It also means that we spend a lot of time on one-on-one mentorship in a range of different capacities to help support you in those goals and to make sure that you get the most out of this program. We do a lot of work with professional development, and that means a lot of different things. Ooh, I'm not sure where that's coming from, if that's me or not. Give me 1 second. There we go. Okay.
Mic was open, that's why it was like echoing, but you're fine now.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Sumaya. Again, the traumas of Zoom, we forget how it works. But yes, so we offer a lot of professional development opportunities for students who wish to go on for further study and pursue PhDs, who wish to become college level instructors, who are interested in teaching in the K through 12 system, or who would like to pursue a range of other careers on the other side, be it as publishers, creative writers, communication directors, or a host of other things. We have a significant number of people who've gone on to work for the National Parks Service. I don't quite know what that connection is, but we have 3 recent graduates who all now work for national parks. I got to try and figure that one out because it sounds like a lovely job. So that's just a little bit about who we are. We also, to talk a little bit about the program, the MA is structured around 30 credits of approved study. That's the equivalent of 10 courses. Students who come into the program are asked to select one of 4 concentrations. We offer a concentration in literature, which also incorporates film and visual culture as well. We have rhetoric and composition that Lauren can talk a little more about, creative writing or pedagogy. And so you'll be asked to officially declare one of those concentrations. However, it is possible to combine them informally if you would like. And so if you are, for example, particularly interested in the intersections of rhetoric and composition and pedagogy, it is possible to craft a unique program of study where we would shape a curriculum for you that would speak to your interests across both of those concentrations. So we really do emphasize interdisciplinarity as well. Even if you remain within one track, you do have a significant portion of electives, usually 4, sometimes 5 electives. So you have the opportunity to explore other things if you would like, or to really focus in on the concentration that you are particularly interested in. We also have a lot of unique opportunities in our program. We try to take good advantage of our location in a major urban center that has lots of wonderful intellectual and kind of cultural institutions that we can draw from. So one of the things that we're centering in our program currently is archival research. We have several opportunities for students who are interested in pursuing archival work. We have our own rare books collection in our own Healy Library, which I was just in yesterday and discovered a Salvador Dali illustrated Alice in Wonderland, which is very creepy and very excellent. So we have a rare books room here, and we also have a lot of holdings for resources related to the city of Boston as well. But there are also on the peninsula where our university is, there is the JFK Library and Museum. And so there's an archival holding there, as well as the Commonwealth Archives for the state of Massachusetts. They're literally next door to us. So there's a lot of opportunities within a stone's throw of our campus. But we are also connected with the Boston Athenaeum, which is an independent library in Boston across from the State House on Beacon Hill. And every spring, we offer a course in partnership with the Athenaeum, where students go to the Athenaeum and work in their archives and work on public-facing writing, archival curation, and produce exhibits for that library. The current course there is on children's literature. It's on the history of play and empire in children's literature, and students are looking at rare books and first editions of children's literature and building a display there. We also have the Boston Public Library as well, which is very, very close to campus and accessible by public transport, where archival practices can happen, and several faculty who are interested in archival studies and archival research, from rhetoric and composition to Victorian literature to medieval studies to experimental poetry, and everything in between. We're also a member of the Boston Graduate Consortium in Gender, Culture, Women and Sexuality. This is a program that is based at MIT, but it is open to students in all consortium schools, where you can take courses at MIT or Boston College through the consortium that count for credit in the UMB MA program. And so if you're interested in these questions, it's a wonderful opportunity to take classes with MA and PhD students across Greater Boston and learn from expert faculty in these fields at other institutions. It's a very cool program. And they offer 2 courses every semester that you're eligible for. We also offer a teaching licensure program, which I find very difficult to say. But if you are interested in working in middle schools or high schools in the state of Massachusetts, it is possible to add licensure to your MA. And so you can pursue the credits that you need and the qualifications that you need to gain initial licensure to teach in the Massachusetts school system. And we have close relationships with the College of Education as well as the Boston Public School System to help you with placement and mentorship in that program. We also have a significant commitment to pedagogical training. It's really a cornerstone of the MA as we have organized it. And so if you're interested in teaching outside of the K-12 system, if you perhaps like to teach at the community college level or at the university level, we have robust training in pedagogy to help support that career path. And Lauren will talk a little bit more about that in a moment. But these are some of the unique opportunities that we have in our program that are part of our connection to Boston, but also part of our commitment as a program and a public serving institution. I also wanted to talk a little bit about the range of co and extracurricular events that we have that kind of flesh out our program. Because we are small, we offer a small number of seminars every semester, but we round out the experiences of our students through a range of extracurriculars. We offer info sessions every semester, usually 3 or 4. These cover a range of professional topics, some academic, presenting at academic conferences, applying to PhD programs, some more professionally oriented. We have one next week on careers related to law and applying to law school, teaching in higher education careers beyond teaching. I'm trying to think of other ones that we have, but all kinds of info sessions. And these are also quite flexible. So if there's something that you would like to hear about, we can tailor an info session to that. We offer robust support for research and travel. We have a department fund. We also have a College of Liberal Arts dedicated fund for graduate students who are attending conferences. And there's also research monies available through the University Graduate Student Association, which is the graduate student government, and through the Graduate Student Organization, which is the graduate student union on campus. So there are a lot of avenues to support work if you need to go to an archive or if you would like to present your research at an academic conference, for example. We host guest lecturers. They attend graduate seminars. They give talks in the department. These happen all of the time. They're constantly happening. So there's always somebody else around that you can talk with or learn from beyond the faculty in our program. We have a movie club, which has a student selected theme every semester. This semester, it's Be Gay, Do Crime. And we watch movies together and we talk about them while we eat cupcakes and drink coffee. Today, we talked about Some Like It Hot, and I had 2 cupcakes, and it was excellent. We have a literary theory reading group, which is hosted by Emilio Sauri and another faculty member in the program. And Emilio, I don't know if you want to say anything about the literary theory group.
Yeah, no, actually, it's just a great opportunity for people who are curious about literary theory. Then it's a very laid back kind of setting. Nobody is expected to come in being a master of everything. And yeah, it's been one of the things that I've enjoyed most about working in the graduate program, because it just leads to a lot of like interesting conversations, like just bouncing crazy ideas off of each other, is kind of the way that I would summarize it.
It is really nice to be able to just talk about contemporary things happening in culture as well. And again, if there's things that you're particularly interested in, you want to read, you want to talk about, that's another great avenue to kind of extend out your intellectual inquiries. We have a creative writing club for master's students who are interested in creative writing, but perhaps aren't taking any workshops or have creative writing that they're doing that doesn't fit into the workshops that they're taking. This is a very informal group of people, poets, fiction writers, non-fiction writers, who just meet informally and share work and talk about publishing opportunities. We do also have an MFA in the English department. And so this is both MA students and MFA students who are working on creative projects. And that relates to a range of publications that happen on campus. I've just listed a few here, from the student newspaper, mass media, to literary magazines like the Breakwater Review that are student run and department published. We have a support group for people working on their final projects that meets once a week as people are desperately trying to kind of finish their capstone experience, that's designed as a mentorship and support opportunity. We have field trips. Every semester we go off and do things together in Greater Boston. Last semester we went to hear Cory Doctorow talk about enshittification. We went to see the musical adaptation of the graphic novel Fun Home. This semester we are going to see a UMB production of the classical play Medea, and we're going to go to the Wicked Queer Film Festival in Boston. And again, so if there's something that you want to go and do and you want the department to buy you a ticket, you can let us know and it would be a field trip. And we also have an MA Advisory Council, which is a council made up of graduate students that works as another avenue for support and advocacy. And they also organize social events throughout the semester for graduate students to get together. So between this and our seminars and our one-on-one mentorship, we aim to produce a kind of close-knit, vibrant and intellectually stimulating and busy environment for our students. But we do try very much to emphasize that these things are driven by students. So whatever it is you would like to see, we can shape all of this programming around those desires as best we can, even down to the cupcakes that we order. Okay, so that's just a little bit about the program and the things that we offer, both curricularly and extracurricularly. Do we have any questions so far?
Not in the chat, but if anybody has anything right now, let us know. Either write it in the chat or speak up now.
Then I shall forge ahead. So we'll just talk a little bit about graduate seminars. I'm just going to say a couple of quick things and then turn it over to Emilio and Lauren to talk a little bit more about the classes that they actually teach and how they approach things. We offer small seminars between 8 and 15 students. Usually there are around about 10 students a seminar. We offer a range every semester, usually 8 to 10. They're evening classes that happen once a week. They're a 2-hour and 45-minute block, usually from 4 to 6:45 or from 7 to 9:45. There are a few exceptions to that. And they're on all kinds of different things. There are a few titles there that you can see of recent graduate seminars that we've offered, but they give students the opportunity to work with primary and secondary coursework and in a range of methodologies: textual analysis, historiography, archival research, quantitative analysis, creative projects, practical demonstrations, all kinds of different things. And they're all with an eye of developing your critical thinking, reading and writing skills, but also working towards the final project that you do as your capstone experience. But Laura and Emilio, if you want to talk a little bit about your graduate seminars, the things that you teach, the approaches that you take, I turn it over to the two of you.
I can start off, I suppose. Yeah, so I guess a couple of things that I'll say is like the first is like none of these courses are ever designed as surveys or lecture courses. The whole point is to get students talking, and not just to us, but actually to each other. And so like I think that one of the things that we all do, and I would say we do very well, is create a kind of infrastructure to make those kinds of discussions, really lively discussions, possible within our seminars. And the other thing is that these seminars, as Sarah was saying, are on a range of periods, genres, and topics and methodologies, and they're usually a reflection of the kind of research interests that a professor is bringing to the course. And one of the great things about our department is that we have a very active faculty in terms of research, which means that they're constantly bringing new courses, new ideas, kind of up to date thinking in terms of, again, periods, genres, and topics. So, as far as my own courses go, courses that I've taught in the past, include most recently a class on realism, or realism IRL, where we were sort of just trying to think about the question of what does it mean for like a work of art, and particularly a novel or a poem, to make a kind of like claim about the world. And we looked at a variety of different media, not just at fiction or poetry, but also film and photography. I've also taught courses on the Latin American novel, which is a kind of reflection of my own interests and the things that I work on. Um, and as well as a course or a seminar on contemporary American fiction. Um, and one of the courses that I teach most often in the program is the course that's titled Literary Theory Today, which is in a sense a kind of um, if not introduction, a kind of way of familiarizing students with like debates that are shaping the field of literary and cultural studies right now, and is in a way of trying to sort of bringing everybody up to speed. And part of the way that works, and one of the things that I have as a kind of feature of all the seminars that I've taught in the past, again with an eye to sort of creating kind of infrastructure for discussion, is students will typically come having read the material. A couple of the students will very often write responses to the readings. Those materials and responses are pre-circulated, right? And right off the bat, everybody is sort of like responding to each other's ideas. Typically, most classes, most seminars are geared towards producing a final paper, right? And that can range usually somewhere around 15 pages or so. And what we like about this is that this gives the students an opportunity not just to simply synthesize a lot of the ideas and issues and topics that we've been looking at in a particular class, but also to start thinking about like, well, what is the thing that I really like and that maybe I'm going to want to sort of develop into a bigger project, a project that will eventually become my MA final project. Again, there's a lot of flexibility in terms of allowing students to pursue their own interests, bring their interests into the course, and develop final papers that not only engage with the topics and the issues and the questions that are central to the course, but also that reflect their own interests. And I think that that's actually one of the pleasures of teaching these seminars, just seeing the wide range of interest that students bring to the program overall.
Great. I'll just jump in to say that Emilio is exactly right in everything he said, that the seminars are really student driven rather than lecture driven. We strive to set up, exciting and interesting combinations of readings and projects to work on. But when we're in our seminar space, it's really about, encouraging crosstalk among students. So in my graduate seminars, and my undergraduate seminars, but in the graduate seminars, I'm taking even more of a back seat. It's a combination of sort of large group, all full class discussions and like smaller group problem solving tasks and smaller discussions. So I teach again courses primarily in rhetoric and composition. So the kinds of seminars I teach are I haven't taught the philosophy and the composing process course that you see listed here. It's an oddly titled course, but it really just means a deep study of how rhetoric and composition researchers have explored and tested the idea of the writing process. So we see, faculty will do a deep dive on peer review as a practice. They'll do deep dives on archival sort of research and writing. They'll do this semester, the instructor is focusing on multimodal composing. So all of these courses, like they have these sort of titles, but what you get really is, as Amelia said, steered by the expertise and the specific research interests of the faculty member. So I think the most recent, I teach the teaching of composition course pretty much every year, but when I'll talk about that a little later on. But the course I taught that most recently that wasn't that course was the Perspectives on Composition class, which is really good for the folks who are coming in thinking like, I'm probably going to concentrate in rhetoric and composition, or the folks who are just like composition curious, or they don't know much about it. They're sort of want to explore it. That course is really set up to help give students like a little sampler of the kinds of work that happens in writing studies. So a little bit of literacy studies, rhetorical studies, pedagogical focus studies, all kinds of things. And then the latter half of the semester is sort of a deep dive into a particular area of interest. And for me, that's writing development through the lifespan. So we look at studies that try to create a longitudinal picture of what it means and the processes of developing writing expertise across time and across contexts. And so, like Emilio said, it's really sort of driven by student interest. So for my classes, it's a little reading driven at the beginning, reading discussion driven. But by the end of the semester, it's very much project driven. Students are practicing developing professional genres like conference papers or sample chapters, writing samples for further application, course materials if they're teaching oriented. So seminars really are designed to be flexible so that you as master's students may be coming in with aims to teach, aims to be a researcher, not sure, and we want to be as flexible as possible. So I think with that we'll move on to the next thing.
Thank you both very much. And you'll get to hear Samaya and Christina's thoughts about seminars in just a moment. Okay, so the other thing we want to talk a little bit more about, kind of related to the seminars, is the final project process. We don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves because you're kind of thinking about applying when we're talking about what happens when you graduate. But just so you know, the long arc of the MA bends towards the final project, which is an independent capstone experience where you really pursue something of particular interest to you. This is related to the concentration that you have declared, or it can become some very interesting hybrid project, depending on if you're doing a kind of more interdisciplinary study. But the way that these work is that you work very closely with your advisor to formulate the topic and the methodology that you're interested in exploring. And then over the course of a semester and a half, you work closely to research, to write, and to revise that project before it goes out to be assessed by secondary readers. And again, to emphasize this idea of flexibility, not only do we encourage students to think about a topic that is particularly of interest to them, you can pretty much do whatever you want. I'm working with someone right now who is basically trying to figure out whether or not the Mission Impossible franchise is a Scientology psyop. That's kind of like his research question. It's all about the relationship between Tom Cruise, Scientology, and Mission Impossible, which we have not taught in a seminar, although now I really want to. So you can explore whatever you want, and you can create these interesting hybrid models around different disciplinary areas. We also offer a range of options for how you actually go about approaching that project. So some students do a standard analytical essay where they write an extended paper, usually of around 30 pages or so. Other people work on a curriculum unit. If they're particularly interested in pedagogy, they might design a teaching unit for a particular topic to a particular student body and then frame that through research. Others will do creative portfolios, a body of poetry, part of a novel, a collection of short stories with a framing essay. And we also offer a critical field exam for students who are looking to get more of a broad knowledge over a particular topic or area, and they kind of read broadly within that for primary and secondary sources, and then take a kind of mini version of a comprehensive exam at the end of that. And students can also combine these as well. I had a student last semester who did a combined analytical and creative project where she wrote an analytical paper and then a one-act play inspired by the film that she had written about for the analytical paper. So again, there's a lot of flexibility here. But I wanted to turn it back over to Emilio and Lauren to just talk a little bit about, they both work with a lot of students in final projects. They are very, very popular faculty members, to just talk about the projects that they do, the students they've worked with, and kind of what that experience is like for them.
Okay, I guess I'll go. As Sarah was saying, like the final projects, the range is just incredibly wide in terms of the kinds of topics that students seek to pursue. These, just to give you a sense of what kind of projects students have been working on recently, I'm currently directing 3 of them. And typically, this means meeting with students regularly, once a week, to talk about their progress, to talk about the writing of the final project, to sort of check in terms of where they are in with regard to their research. And I think it's a process that sort of helps students develop a great number of skills that are very useful beyond the field of literary studies or cultural studies or rhetoric and composition. And I'll just to give you a couple of examples, I have currently one student who's writing a very philosophically ambitious final project on action and intention in white noise. And actually, that's Christina, who can talk about her experience working on that. I have another student who's writing on epic and television as it relates to a series like The White Lotus. And I have another student who's working on David Foster Wallace's Infinite Jest and Aesthetic Theory. But in the past, I've had students who have wanted to work on modernist texts like William Faulkner, Sound and the Fury. I had students who want to work on autofiction, and some students who want to work on things like hip hop and poetry. So again, the range is like very, very wide, and this is something that really gives students an opportunity to pursue something that means something to them. And we're here basically to facilitate that more than anything. Yeah, I mean, this is again like a great thing for me at the very least, because I just love all the various kinds of interests that students bring to these final projects, and learning more about the things that they're interested in, and being in a position to sort of help them develop these ideas through.
Yeah, once again, Emilio is always right. These are the final exercises are so diverse, and it is really about what the student is interested in, what makes them curious, what they're passionate about, um, and sort of where, in some cases, sort of where their professional paths are likely to take them. So I've worked with lots of folks who are full-time, middle school, high school teachers, who will meet every week at after school hours, to sort of check in on their progress. So for those folks, I've had students write analytic essays, to sort of explore, for example, right this semester, somebody's exploring, pedagogical strategies for, having students engage critically with Gen AI as a sort of a tool that seems easy, seems like an easy way to get some writing done, but also really flattens, linguistic and cultural diversity. So she's sort of, synthesizing the literature, in the field on how to combat that tendency. I've got other folks who have done sort of critical essays on the role, of the 5 paragraph essay, which is a very familiar academic genre that, gets too much play in, secondary education, to the detriment of student writing development. I've had folks do a curriculum project, designing sort of community engaged first year writing courses, designing, critical reading, curricula to help students transfer, knowledge of writing, and reading practices across disciplines. It really just depends on the students. Some feel more like they just want to deep dive into some research and do some interviews, do some surveying, collect some data. Others are taking a more sort of scholarly, critical approach and working in the literature, and others are building, whole courses. They're really the sky's the limit. And as Sarah mentioned earlier, we've got faculty who have expertise in lots of different kinds of research methodologies. Whether it's qualitative interviewing, survey, archival work, rhetorical analysis work, or even some, dare I say, quantitative work, working with, sort of numerical statistical data. So we're there to, you've got someone is there who can support, your research questions.
Sumaya and Christina, do you just want to tell everyone what your final projects are on? Because you're like in it right now. Or is that just like, don't make me talk about it? I'm too stressed out.
No, I can talk about it. So, as the professors mentioned, that we have like flexibility on how you want to do your final project. For example, I am not doing a theoretical paper nor a curriculum unit. I'm basically doing a qualitative research and then doing a journal publication uh, under the supervision of my advisor. So I collected data from my last semester and I'm just collecting all this data and analyzing them, and then I'm gonna set out those data and explain how like how I can write about my research, what I have found out about my data collection from those sets. So I had to like, even for doing this research, I had to do the IRB, or like get permission from the IRB protocol, and then I had to CTIT training. So it feels a lot complicated, but there's always people who are gonna help you, and they are expert in that field. So you can get support like with anything that you want. So when I decided to do like this qualitative research, and I was like, oh my God, can I do that or not? Is it too complicated? But my professors and advisor are like, no, we can do that. Let's break this down and how we can go step by step and do that. So it may sound critical and like very, complicated at the beginning, but the they are experts, and they're always going to be some of the professors who can match or help you with your research interest. And then after discussing with them, you can easily be flexible with your final project, whatever you're interested in, where your real interest lies in. So it's really flexible, and you can get any sort of help from the professors. So yeah, that's all about my final project.
Yeah, so for my final project, as Emilio said, I'm looking at Don DeLillo's White Noise and thinking about theories of action and intention. Um, and different theories around that, and how the novel brings up that question and all of that. And I didn't come into the final project with like a clear vision at all. I did not write a paper earlier in my courses that I wanted to expand on, so I really was starting from square one. But was able to last minute pull it together, work with Emilio, come up with ideas, and it's just been a really cool process to be a part of because basically I just get to spend a bunch of time doing my favorite part of studying literature, which is like really close reading a book over and over again and then reading articles, and then I get time to talk to a professor just one on one and discuss ideas and wrestle through them, which is what I love about studying literature. So it's really been a very fun and difficult, of course, process. Yeah, so that's what I'm doing.
And we have some questions in the chat as well. I think it like helpful just to read them out loud, just in case other people have the same question. So first we have S. McDonald asks, for those interested in a creative writing career path, what's the major differences between the MA and the MFA? Also, how often will students work full time while completing the degree? I could answer that if that's cool. But, Um, the so the creative writing in the MA program, there's a more of an emphasis on balancing the like the analytical literary literature classes, like 'cause it is still an MA, right? But while you're integrating more workshops than like a literature MA would. The creative writing MFA is a 3-year program. It's a little more selective. They only let about 10 people in per year. And that one is much more geared towards like writing a final thesis, like coming in with consistent workshops for 3 years straight and working with a specific cohort. Whereas the creative writing MA classes, while they're blended into the MFA, so you'd still get an aspect of that, they wouldn't be as as tight in a way because it isn't like 3 years, it's 2 years, and you're also doing like analytical papers for other classes and stuff like that.
Yeah, I just noted a couple of other differences. Yeah. One is that the MA, there's creative writing faculty in, so we're all in the same department, and there really isn't much of a distinction in terms of faculty. There are some faculty who teach um, MFA only seminars. And if you're in the MFA, you work with one of those faculty on your creative projects. If you're in the MA program, you can work with those faculty, but you can also work with other faculty who don't teach in the MFA, and they tend to work in a range of other genres. So we have a faculty member, Susan Tan, who is a very prolific children's literature author, as well as a critical scholar of children's literature. Some MA students in the creative writing track pursue children's literature with her. Or we have some experimental poets or someone who does like Italian poetry and translation. They don't really teach in the MFA, but if you're in the creative writing track, you can work with them. So it has a bit more genre flexibility, I should say. I worked with a student who wrote a one-act play, and we don't have drama anywhere. She won an award. She won a big award for it. It's very cool. So you have a little bit more genre flexibility as well, but there is overall a chunk of overlap between the two. And I would say as well, in terms of working full time, we have a lot of students in the program who work full time. The only issue that raises is if you're looking for an assistantship, which we'll talk a little bit more about in the moment. The range of assistantships that are available for students who aren't able to be on campus during the day is very limited. If you aren't looking for an assistantship, it's not a problem at all. Our graduate seminars take place in the evening. They work well around work schedules, and you can finish the program part-time. You can take one course a semester for 5 years if you want to. It's not a problem. We actually have a student doing that right now. If you're looking to get an assistantship and you want to move through the program in 2 years, and you want to work full time, hopefully you work remotely and hopefully you don't need a lot of sleep, because that's an enormous amount to do. But we're a flexible program in terms of timelines, and we can talk a little bit more about your schedule and what would work for you in terms of the particular job that you have and the timeline and financial situation that you're working through.
And with the creative writing specifically, the MFA is a lot less flexible because they have mandatory workshops in the middle of the day every Tuesday. Whereas the MA program, because of all our classes are at night, it allows for, commuters and people who are working full time, whereas the MFA, they literally tell you like block off Tuesdays. You cannot really do anything on Tuesdays because you will be in school.
Alrighty. So with that, I think perhaps we should turn our attention to graduate assistantships because everyone wants to know about funding and it's a big thing. Um, so we offer a range of graduate assistantships to students. We'll talk a little bit about the range of assistantships and the Teaching Fellows program, which is part of our teacher training that we offer in addition to licensure. So there's the licensure program if you want to teach in middle school or high school, but we also have a teaching fellows program for people who are interested in perhaps teaching at the college level. I should mention there is also a graduate teaching certificate that you can pursue through the Office of Graduate Studies, which is some professional development opportunities that you can actually get a transcriptable certificate in graduate teaching, which is another unique opportunity that I should have put on the PowerPoint earlier. But in terms of assistantships, we offer a range of positions. These usually change every semester, so you can cycle through a range of different positions while you're here. We have a range of teaching assistant positions. You might work as a discussion section leader. A lot of graduate students work with me because I teach a lot of large lectures in cinema studies, in world cinema, the history of sex on the American screen, introduction to film studies. Emilio, you teach Love and Death in American Literature. And so students can work as discussion section leaders in that course, which is very cool. You might be a course assistant for a different course. Maybe we have a course on archival learning that usually has a graduate assistant attached to it. Or any upper level course where a faculty member is looking for a teaching assistant, you might be assigned there. We also have an experiential learning course called Experiencing Boston, which is designed for freshmen new to the university, that involves general education courses as well as field trips and experiential learning experiences in Greater Boston. And a lot of graduate students work with that. Or you may be a writing tutor, either working as a writing consultant in the University Writing Center or as a writing tutor for the Manning College of Nursing and Health Sciences, which is an online position. Other students work in more research-oriented positions. They are editorial assistants for academic journals. Again, you might be working with Emilio. God, you're in everything, Emilio. This is amazing. He runs the journal Former. We also have the New England Quarterly. There's a composition journal that we run that I'm forgetting the name of right now. But we have several academic journals in the department. Other students work in the university archives as archival assistants or communication assistants. And then Lauren Hold has graduate students work with her for the writing across the curriculum program as well. So these are often positions that you would hold in your first year. We do our best to try and match students with positions that we think they would be interested in and would learn something from. But we have this kind of broad range of opportunities. We also have the Teaching Fellows program. And if you apply and are accepted to be a teaching fellow, which both Christina and Sumaya were and are, this means that you get to be the instructor of record and teach your own section of an introductory course, either an introductory composition course or an introductory literature course, typically the art of literature or the art of fiction. So this is a pretty robust program that is kind of sequenced and mentored. And so I'm going to turn it over to Lauren to talk a little bit about this, because as she mentioned earlier, she teaches a core course in that and has worked with a lot of people kind of through this program.
Yeah, so if you're interested in becoming a teaching fellow, and the first thing I'll say about that is that we have a lot of students who come in with absolutely zero teaching experience, not even like a light TA experience. And our mission is to make sure that you feel as ready as possible to sort of run a class, a college level class on your own. So if you're already feeling intimidated, not to worry, that's why we're here. So to apply to become a teaching fellow, you have to take one of the pedagogy courses, so either the teaching of literature or the teaching of composition. And in those courses, it's sort of readings about best practices in teaching, in combination with practice developing course materials, and also some live teaching demonstrations. Everybody takes turns sort of designing and delivering a short lesson. So you get some live practice and some live feedback. When you're selected as a teaching fellow over you sort of engage in a year-long support and mentoring process, which is really excellent. I don't want to be the, I walked uphill both ways person, but I was given 3 days of orientation and then taught my first college class. This is not that kind of program. You are sort of learning about the teaching and maybe doing some TA work. And then you're spending a summer designing your course materials with a faculty mentor, with a cohort of your colleagues to sort of bounce ideas off of. Then you are running your own classes for the first time, while meeting weekly with that cohort and that mentor, having observations, troubleshooting, getting some ideas about what do I do about this situation, or how do I grade student writing. And then in the second semester, that support is still in place. And faculty will observe you again, and you'll meet less frequently, but still with that same cohort. So really, you get a full year of fully supported and mentored teaching experience, and you come away with some really good ideas about how to do things more or less on your own going into the future. I'll say just a little bit more about the courses that teaching fellows are assigned to teach. So English 101 is the composition course. English 101 is the kind of course that virtually every college and university has. So there are often lots of job opportunities for that. And we really prepare folks well to sort of hop into other kinds of positions elsewhere. Same with teaching of the art of fiction and the art of literature. Those are really good. They're general education courses, just like English 101. They're taken by students across disciplines. So you really get good at sort of articulating, like, why do we study literature? What is the value of studying literature in our lives? And it's really exciting to work with students. So the art of fiction and art of literature is sort of the sophomore level, and the composition is right as we get first year students coming in the door. Both are really dynamic and interesting kinds of classrooms to work in, and you get to work with our really fantastic, diverse undergraduate population at UMass Boston, which is my favorite part of working here. Anything else I should add, folks on the call? Questions about the teaching? I kind of went through that pretty quickly.
I think that's pretty good. I mean, Sumaya and Christina will talk a little bit more about that when we turn it over to them.
And they'll tell me I'm lying.
Yeah, because they know firsthand what it's like to walk into the classroom and be like, oh, it's me, I have to do this. So
yes.
We will come back to this in just a moment. Before we turn it over to Christina and Sumaya, Alec and I are just going to take just a quick minute, because the other part of this is, okay, so what's the work you do, but how do you get paid for it? So we just wanted to let you know, because obviously like things cost money and graduate school can be expensive. So Alec, correct me if I'm wrong, because you handle all of this stuff and I'm really bad with numbers. But basically, if you're offered a funding package in the MA program, we would guarantee you a 0.5 assistantship for 4 semesters, which would get you through the program. We'll talk. Occasionally we can top it up, but basically one assistantship is considered a 0.5 assistantship. That constitutes 9 hours of work a week. What that looks like depends radically on the kind of assistantship you have. What those 9 hours look like if you're leading discussion section is very different than when you're working in the archives in the library, but it's 9 hours a week that's contractually bound by the graduate student union contract. That 0.5 position comes with a 50% tuition waiver, contributions to health insurance, and a stipend. And you can see the rates here on the form. So for a half-time assistantship, the stipend is just over $6,000 for the semester. So you would get those things every semester. We are allowed to offer up to 2 positions, which means you could hold 2.5 positions, which would bring you up to a 1.0, which would mean you would then do 18 hours worth of work, 9 hours in one, 9 hours in the other, but you would get a 100% tuition waiver, same contributions to health insurance, but double the stipend. So you can see there that you would move up to just over $12,000 for the semester. So that's basically how the funding works. We do not guarantee 2 positions. We offer them when we can, but it depends very much on the funding that we have available. If you're offered an assistantship, barring a problematic GPA, terrible work performance, horrific criminal behavior, caveat, you can rely on that. a 0.5 assistantship for 4 semesters. When we can raise things up to 1.0, but it's not guaranteed. Alec knows more about the stats of that, so please.
And there are ways to up your chances of getting a 1.0. The most surefire is to take a pedagogy class and then apply to be a teaching fellow, which we just discussed a second ago. That's usually, and then and you can either in that scenario teach 2 classes as a teaching fellow, or which a lot of our students do is they teach 1 class and then they continue as a TA for or a research assistant for another class. Um, so while we can't guarantee the 0.5, it's not like you're entirely in limbo every semester because there are ways you can up your chances of guaranteeing the 1.0. Our numbers for this have been pretty good recently. This semester we have 26 students who were funded and 19 of those students had full funding. So and again the teaching fellowships really helped with that. So it's contingent on how many students are in the program because the more students are in the program requesting funding, the harder it is for us to guarantee to give you a 1.0 when we have to guarantee a 0.5 to everyone. Um, on the flip side, there are also semesters where other programs across the school, specifically in like the humanities, are not drawing from the general dean's fund of TA ships and stuff like that. And so the dean's office will offer us more classes. That's what happened this semester is I guess a lot of other programs just didn't have people in them, so they were giving out a lot more funding than usual. So it's semester contingent and there's a lot of variables outside of our program's control, but there are, like I said, there are steps you can take and especially if you plan on like going on to do a PhD or to just thinking about teaching with your master's degree after in a college setting, the pedagogy classes and the teaching fellowships are invaluable experiences for that.
Thank you, Alec. I don't know if you have this on hand, but if you could throw a link in the chat for the current tuition rates for graduate students. I don't know if you have that on
Yep,
hand, but I
I can grab that.
believe that for in-state students, it's about $7,500 a semester. So a 50% tuition reduction takes you down to about 3,500. Just so if you are banking on a 0.5, that's what you would be looking at. Obviously, the goal would be to not pay anything, but and we do what we can when we get there. Okay, so that's a little bit about our funding. I want to turn things over to Samaya and Christina because you've heard enough from me now to say really nice things about the program because their grades depend on it. But I just want to share whatever you would like. And if you have questions for the graduate students, again, throw them up in the chat, let us know. Please, Samaya, Christina, take it away.
Okay, I think I will go first, Christina, if that's okay with you. Um, it's been a great experience to be in the program. So again, because my grades depend on that, I'm gonna only talk about the good things, just so you know. So the first thing I want to mention that our graduate seminars are really small. There's only like 8 to 10 students, so you get very close monitoring and that kind of experience in those seminars, and you can learn a lot from your faculty advisors or members. And because, as Professor Bowen mentioned earlier, that the seminars are basically very much student driven and not teacher driven, so that gives you a very good opportunity to collaborate or like for the peer-to-peer interaction. So it like all of our cohort group, we are just all of us are besties, so you get to share your ideas and like your work experience, and that I think that kind of bond in the graduate level like studies are really important. So that's good thing, and I wanted to like mention about that. And again, all of my faculty members have been very helpful. They are very responsive, and whenever you need help, you can just go to them and they will solve, or they will try to solve your problem like as soon as possible they can. So that's been also helpful for me. And another thing that's I really need to mention about the program that's good about the professional development that we have in the department. If you are looking for like to go to a PhD or the conferences, Professor Hamlin every semester arranges like the infosession for conferences and then PhD programs. So you can attend them and develop your professionalism and get some idea about those kind of work. And again, we have the writing group for the MA final students. So every Thursday we are running this writing groups this semester from 11 to 1 p.m. So again, if you are like really worried, you got this peer group and everyone working together and very professional setting, very good for the like final project and great experience into the program and to work with your mentors and peers. Another good thing, you wanna know what, that with your UMP ID, you can get free museum passes. So if you are looking for that, you can go to MFA, Museum of Science, Isabella Stewart Museum Garden, and ICA and other stuff. So you should like use that opportunity if you are a like museum visitor fan like kind of person. So that's all I wanted to say. Am I missing anything?
Tell them about your thing, your future.
Oh, about my future. So yes, I want to join the academia. I wanted to do my PhD, and I that program helped me a lot, as I told you about like the program arranges like workshops for the professional development for the conferences and then the PhD programs if you are looking forward to it. So I had so many confusion how to do that, where to start, and what do I need to do about those things. Again, my mentors helped me a lot, trained me what to do in that process to get into a PhD program, to get into conferences. So attended those virtual sessions and the info sessions with Professor Hamlin, my professors, Professor Bowen, and all of the composition program faculties been very helpful to guide me through this whole process. And I think I'm going to embark on this journey pretty soon. So thank you, the English department, for that. So it has been really helpful for that. So yeah, that's it.
Samaya's
Thank
being
you.
really modest. She's got at least 2 offers from PhD programs
I have been
already, and
waitlisted for Syracuse.
it's just amazing. It's February 12th. We're so early in the cycle, and people are clamoring for her already. So
Thank you.
huzzah.
All right, so I came into the program, I came back to school. So I took 4 years off of school, and I came back just because I missed being in English, missed studying it, and I wanted to get a better idea of what I could do with a degree in English. So try things out, experiment, make connections, do all of that. And I even had like my professor from undergrad had advised me not to get an MA, and not to go on and do more English because he was like, it's not going to be the same experience as undergrad. All the things you loved about studying English in undergrad, you don't get to do that in grad school. And that has not been my experience at all. Like I have gotten to try so many things. My setup with like the fellowships, or not fellowships, the assistantships was a little unique where like in my first semester, I was offered a half-time one and then somebody dropped theirs and I got to add on another one. So I've been able to be fully funded, which has been amazing. But for a year, I worked on the journal with Emilio. I got to work in the archives for a semester. I was a TA for a semester. Now I'm a teaching fellow. And what I wanted to do was get experience teaching while I was in school so that I could get an idea of if that's something I wanted to pursue or not. And I was just so impressed by how, and I've only done the composition, like teaching of composition, so I can only speak for that, but was so impressed by that course. And just Lauren is just probably the best teacher I've ever had. Like I love my discussion-based classes, but like the way she organized the course and taught us how to teach was incredible. And the way that then we were guided through with our mentor, how to prepare to teach, guided through the semester, all of that. Like I have had friends who've gone to grad school for music, and were just thrown into classes, given a syllabus and told to teach. And that has not been my experience at all, where I've just been guided the whole way through, felt very supported, which has been incredible. What else did I want to say? Yeah, I mean, that's really it. It's like, oh, the other thing I wanted to say was that part of what I liked about UMass Boston before I came here, part of why I applied, was that even though knew I was going to concentrate on literature, there is that flexibility to take courses in other concentrations. And so like my first semester I took fiction writing, and then I took an editing and publishing class. And just getting to really see what different areas within English were like was just incredible for me to kind of explore through my assistantships and through my courses.
Oh,
Anything
you
else you want me to say?
Oh, I wanted to add something about like how it my experience about like teaching the Comp 101 course, because if people are interested in the TF positions for that, so many of you might like get that anxiety or let that fear that, oh, how I'm gonna do or teach that Comp 101 class. I don't know anything about teaching. For that, Professor Boyne is gonna train you really good with all the demo lessons, and for like her class, you are gonna like create those lessons plans, so you are already prepared. But when you went to that summer teaching training with your advised supervisor, they are gonna also help you with that, and you don't have to create anything from the scratch, because the composition program is gonna give you a general like objective or outcome, and the assignment designing, of course, you can modify those so that it aligns with the outcome of the program. But again, you can modify your like the assignments as per your choice that follows your pedagogical strategy and your theory of writing and all of those things. So again, just if you are concerned about that, they are going to guide you throughout, and it's already, you can just follow the guidelines that the composition program is going to provide to you. And it's, trust me, it's a pleasure teaching the undergrads here at UMV and in 101. That's drivers community. You're gonna learn a lot from the students. Like the community, the diversity they brings into the classroom. Awesome, great experience.
Yeah, and I want to add one more thing, just about like finding community as a student, because you know that when you're going to grad school, people are in all different stages of life. They may not be looking for friendships or anything like that. I moved here out of state. I'm from Washington State, so I've only been here for a year and a half. And you immediately start to get to know people because the classes are small. You see them in the hallway, you talk to them in the grad lounge. And I've built a lot of relationships that may not be like my best friends, but it's just you feel known in the space by your peers and by your professors, by the professors who don't know you too. Like I went to a small undergrad and had that experience and didn't expect to get that in a grad school, especially a public grad school. But it's been really cool. And our cohort of teaching fellows in composition, like the way that we're always building off of each other's ideas and talking to each other about, oh, I'm having this issue, or oh, I tried this and it worked really well. And everybody's just very collaborative, which is really cool.
You guys, this is making me so happy. We should just do this just for me, so I can feel like I'm really good at my job. But that's really lovely to hear. I really hope that we do that, that people feel supported and part of a cohort that is professionally, intellectually, and personally stimulating and satisfying. It's really nice to hear that it is. You all get A's. Well done. Excellent. Okay. So just very quickly, because this is an application info session, we thought we should finish up by talking a little bit about the application process itself. So we look at applications holistically, and that I think is a big thing that I want to emphasize here. It's actually myself, Emilio, and Lauren who will be your application committee as we're kind of considering these over the next couple of months. And what we're really looking for is that you have a kind of a strong background that means that you're suited for this. Ideally, you have an undergraduate degree in English creative writing or rhetoric and composition. That's preferred, it's not required. Some students come from different degrees, art history, communication. We've even had students come from sociology, psychology. We had a biochemist come once who was really super into creative writing. It was just absolutely amazing. Ended up doing a PhD in film studies. So, you know, these are not rules, right? If you feel that you don't fit into the kind of normative mold, reach out to me, reach out to Alec. We're happy to talk to you about the uniqueness of your situation and help you craft an application that shows your suitability through the experiences that you've had. You'll need to send a resume and transcripts. They can be unofficial transcripts at this stage. We also look for 2 letters of recommendation. Ideally, we would like people who are familiar with your most recent academic work. If you're a recent graduate, That's pretty easy. If you're a returning student after a break, that might be a little bit more challenging. So again, if you feel like you're not sure who would be the best recommender for you, reach out to myself or Alec, and we can talk about your situation and who might be a good person to round out that application. If you are from UMB faculty are excellent recommenders because they know you intimately and we know them too. So it's very nice when that happens and there's no conflict of interest. We also look for a statement of purpose. Here, we're really trying to get a sense of why you want to do an MA, what you want to do while you're here, and why you want to do it here. Those are really the three questions that we're looking for you to answer. Some of it may be like, I'm interested in 7 different things and I like this program because I don't have to make a decision. That's a great answer. So you don't have to have a very focused or specific idea. It might be that you're interested in lots of different things, but we would just like to know, like, are you interested in Victorian literature? Are you interested in queer rhetorics? Are you interested in the sonnet? Like, what is it that you're particularly interested in that you think you might like to explore while you're in this program? It's not a contract. You can radically change your mind. You might come in being like, I'm super into Shakespeare, and then you take a Latin American novel course with Emilio and be like, nope, that's it. I want to read super long Latin American books. That's what I'm into. And we're super happy if that's what happens. So it's not a contract, but we just want to know a little bit about you. We also ask that you submit a critical essay, about 7 to 10 pages, ideally including research if you can, but something that really demonstrates your ability to read and write critically. That's what we're looking for. If you're interested in declaring the creative writing concentration, you should also, so in addition to the critical essay, submit a portfolio of your creative work. If you're interested in poetry, particularly some poems or short stories or something along those lines. Again, this is the kind of general kind of package of what we look like. If you don't quite fit this or you aren't quite sure how to meet one of these requirements, reach out and we can talk through the specifics of your case. In terms of deadlines, we have a priority deadline for March 1st. If you are looking for an assistantship, I strongly encourage you to apply by that deadline because we will dole out our funding. We will, however, accept applications through June 15th. We cannot guarantee how much funding we'll have left by then. So if you are invested, if you're looking for an assistantship, the earlier you can apply, the better, ideally before March 1st. But we do have a rolling deadline through to June 15th. If you have any questions at any point, just reach out to us. If you have questions about the program, you can reach out to me, you can reach out to Alec. We're more than happy to talk with you. We can set up Zoom meetings, chat over email, whatever's easiest for you. If you have questions about the specific application portal or some like technical part of the application, you should reach out to the Office of Graduate Studies at graduate.admissions@umb.edu. They handle the kind of more technical elements of things. And so they are more likely able to help you with those. If you're an international student and you have questions related to visas, international student statuses, things like that, the Office of International Student and Scholar Services is your best bet. I was an international student myself for a long time. It was a while ago, but I might be able to answer some stuff. But if not, I can connect you with somebody there. And then questions about financial aid. The financial aid office can help you because they know how that works and what it looks like and what things conflict with things and how you do FAFSA. I don't even know what that stands for. So those are kind of some good contact details for you. But if you're unsure, me or Alec, we're the people you reach out to. And if we don't know the answer, we'll connect you with somebody that does, or we will try and find it out and then get back to you. Okay. Oh, it went away. Questions? Do we have anything in the chat? Does anyone have a question that they would like to share? Feel free, unmic yourself, shout them out.
I have so many questions. I'm so sorry.
Go for it.
Okay, so you just spoke about transcripts, and when I was looking at the application, it says if you've not taken more than a few courses to not submit that transcript. I've been to like 5 different universities. My educational journey has been quite, it's been everywhere. So I don't know if I should order transcripts then, because it would cost me obviously money from each institution, but all of my transcripts are in my undergrad.
Hmm.
transcript. You can see them all there. So I
Yeah.
don't know if it's sufficient to just submit that one for now, and then when you request official transcripts to go back and resend them from all those other institutions, or what would make more sense, I guess, for me to do.
So you just said that your undergraduate transcript has a list of all of the courses that you've taken at all of the different institutions you've been at.
Correct.
That's fine, because that's what we
Okay.
want to see at this stage is like, what have you taken and how did you do? Right. And again, remembering it's only one part of an application. Like we're much more interested in, we look at the whole
Okay.
package. Yeah. So yeah, don't spend money on
Okay.
bureaucratic stuff
Okay.
when you don't need it. If it turns out to be a problem and someone else tells you that it wasn't a problem, you just say, Sarah Hamblin told me not to do that, and I'll take the blame for it. But
Okay.
you'll have to upload a transcript into the portal. The graduate office will check that a transcript is there. Amelia, Lauren, and myself are the ones that actually look at the content of it. I think it's fine.
Okay.
Amelia, Lauren, have I just lied to
No,
somebody?
I don't think you're lying at all. And I think if there is a question, if there's any question, like we will look at what we get, and if there's any question, there is usually an opportunity to like follow up and get more information. But that what you described sounds completely legitimate, like completely
Okay.
fine.
Yep.
Okay, and if I don't want to like step on anybody's toes, but I'm going to keep asking questions until someone interrupts me. Okay, so feel free to do that.
You're going to fit in so well here. We're going to get along.
You're asking the questions
Perfect.
that I had anyways, so it
Okay,
fits. That's what I
wonderful.
was gonna ask.
Sorry, I didn't mean to like jump in there, but to save us all time. So you spoke about the tuition waiver. I'm a veteran student, so like the VA obviously funds me.
Mhm.
However, if I don't know how that works, only because you're allotted a certain amount of funding for your GI Bill. If you don't know how that works, maybe there's a veteran I can speak to who runs the
Yes.
program there, like a Kappa student or something like that. Because my plan is to get my MA, move to Japan, and teach English as a second language.
I did that.
Oh my God, this is perfect! I'm so excited.
We
Okay,
have two
okay.
faculty who, actually, we have three faculty who did that, so we can talk to you
Oh
about it.
my God, this is a dream. Okay, so I like recently divorced, so my life is everywhere, and I'm just like ready to abandon everything I know and start over.
Come
And
to grad school.
oh my God, okay,
Seriously.
so this is great. So it sounds crazy in my head. I have no idea how any of it works, but it's something I always wanted to do. And my partner didn't want me to do that. So now that I'm not with that person, I'm like, wait a minute, like I'm just gonna go do what I want, and that feels wonderful. But I don't know what I'm doing. I have no idea how any of it works. So if I can save my funding to pay for intonation school because I don't speak Japanese. I know very little, like anime Japanese, which doesn't count. So I would like to do that. So I don't know if those 0.5s and 1.0 situations take from my GI Bill, or if I can conserve my GI Bill, I will. And so I could make the most of what I have without having to pay, which sounds greedy, but it is what it is.
No, it doesn't. It sounds smart.
Okay.
So I'll say a couple of things is one, I don't know how it works either, but we do have a very excellent Veteran Affairs office on campus. And if you pop your email up in the chat or just email me, I'll connect you with them. We do also have two veterans in the program right now, one of whom who is using their GI Bill and one of whom isn't. So I will connect you with them if you want to talk about stuff with an actual MA student in the program. So we can find the answers to those questions for you. We have a lot of veterans on our campus. It's a big part of who we serve because we are the only public school in Boston. And so there's a lot of support and a lot of people on campus who can help you with those kinds of questions. You also don't necessarily need to speak Japanese, but we can talk about that more later.
But I want to.
I know, but
feel
you
like
should,
I'm gonna
'cause it's
live
like
in
it's a
that
bit rude if you
country.
don't,
I
but you
can't
don't
just
have to.
walk around and not know. That's just rude, Like I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I will write down that email. Thank you, whoever did that. Alec, thank you.
Other questions, thoughts,
That's not
comments?
the email. That's the link to the Veteran Center. I can pull up the email though.
Thank you. I will take both of those things.
So I'm at work, so if it's I'm trying to make time in between everything that I do. But I'm currently an undergraduate student for communications and literature arts teaching, and that's just English education, 5 through 12 licensure. And I'm looking at if it would be better for me to take a year and do 5 through 12 teaching and then go into an MA and PhD program, or immediately from graduating this upcoming fall, go into the program. I don't know if that gap, since it's teaching experience, would look better on CVs and would be good experience, or if a gap would look bad. If I explained that well.
No, you did. You explained it really well. And I think other people, like you might have different thoughts about this. Personally, I don't think a gap is a bad thing. It's only a year, it's not that long. Um, it's really up to you. MA to PhD is exhausting, right? You might want to take a gap and take a little break, rest yourself, and be prepared for that push. You might take a break after your MA before you do your PhD. I personally took breaks between everything that I did, even from high school to college. With British college, like high school to college, college to university, MA, PhD, every time. So I think that it's not a bad thing to do. I think that experience can look good, but it's not required. Things that get you into your PhD program, there's other things that are more important. I mean, I guess it depends a little on the PhD that you're looking to pursue, but I'd say it's really up to you. Amelia, Lauren, do you have thoughts
Yeah,
about
I
that?
just want to ask a follow-up because it's late. It's late and I was up early. Sarah, are you asking when you say the gap, do you mean like so you're a licensed teacher, should you teach right away, then do the MA? Or are you
Correct.
saying do
Yeah.
the MA and then teach?
Yes.
You're worried about
Either.
the gap with the teaching.
Yeah. I've heard conflicting opinions on if going into MA and PhD programs with teaching experience could be helpful because then when you do TA stuff, you're a little more
I see.
experienced.
I see. Yeah.
Um, but I've also heard that if you take a gap, it's super hard to get back into academia and you, yeah, so
I think I mean, Sarah's right. There's no wrong way to do this. Does teaching because you're certified for secondary ed, yes, or
secondary,
middle?
yeah, 5 through 12. So it's
Yeah.
middle school and high
I mean,
school
it certainly
communications and
doesn't, yeah, it certainly doesn't hurt to have that teaching experience, but as we've talked about today, you'd get a ton of teaching experience in the MA program as well. That would also put you in really good shape for teaching beyond that. So I don't think there's a wrong way to do it, truly. But I would not see it as a requirement that you've taught
Yeah,
for
if you're looking,
for a year or two, before launching the MA PhD journey.
yeah, if you're looking for a literature or literary studies PhD, they're going to care about your um, critical preparedness, your intellectual ideas
Yep,
first and most. Teaching experience is like that's nice, but that's not what gets you in. If you're looking at an ed PhD or something with more of a pedagogy focus, that might change a little bit.
yeah,
But yeah, top tier PhD programs in literary studies, and I think even in rhetoric and composition, are going
yeah.
to care about your research questions and your research training massively, massively, massively.
okay. Okay, thank you.
Anything else we can help with or talk through?
I'm going to speak again. Okay. I noticed on the website there's no foreign language requirement. Is that a hoax or is that
Nope.
true?
Nope.
Because
Most
I haven't
MAs don't have them.
spoken any languages since 2014. I am old. So, I mean, I could maybe test out of Spanish. My partner was Hispanic, so maybe I could get away with it. But like, I
Not a
don't
thing.
want to have to restart. That sounds awful.
Nope. Nope,
Actually,
not a thing. Not
you have to be fluent in Japanese.
I
That's
know. Is that not enough? Is that not enough? Like, I should
no.
just pick one. Okay.
Yeah.
So
No,
you
you do
don't
not need
offer
a
courses.
foreign language at the master's level.
Oh my God. That's awesome. Not to be like that, but it's hard when you are staring down the barrel of a 2 year, but it's
Mhm.
now 6 years because you don't speak any language
Yeah.
correctly besides English.
Yeah.
Okay,
You're all good. You're all good.
fabulous.
Anything else?
I had a question. Sarah and Alex, nice to see you again. I was just wondering if someone could speak at all to like some general scholarship opportunities and what any application processes are like for those.
We have a few that one we just had one recently, but they're like general scholarships that also apply to undergrads as well. But I don't think we have any off the top of my head. I don't know if we have any specific graduate student scholarships for English majors, but
Yeah.
there are some general ones that undergrads and grads can apply for.
Yeah, I think that that is unfortunately right. We don't have a specific graduate like, fellowship or scholarship that we can add on top of the funding that we offer. There are bigger bucket scholarships, and then there are also national ones that we could help you apply for. We try instead to support and help defray the costs of the kinds of things that you do while you're here. So if you wanted to travel for your research or go to a conference, we have money to support that. Um, but I think that, and then if you win a prize, we give you money, but that's like at the end. um, but I don't think we have anything like that up front. Sumaya, do you know of something?
Um, the graduate student, they can apply for the graduate student summer research award for every summer. You can submit your proposal for the research that I have like received that award last summer for my research proposal. So if you're interested in doing some kind of research, so you can submit your proposal, and if it get approved, then you can get the summer research award for that. So that's another opportunity that you can, if you are interested in, you can get that.
Thanks for that. I will look into that and then
Yeah.
get on top of it. I'd never heard of that. That's awesome. Thank you.
Is
Yeah.
it through is it through the dean's office, Sumaya? Is it through
The CLA.
CLA dean? Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. That's great to know.
I'm
Other
gonna
questions?
ask another question. I'm sorry.
It's literally why we're here.
Okay, in the beginning, you had mentioned that you could pick your own, like you could swap between teaching and literature because I want to teach, but I am in love with Lord Byron. Romantic period literature stole me away. There's nothing I can do about it, and I'm fascinated by romantic period literature, from like Edmund Burke to God, who even knows? All of them, they're all fantastic. So I'm just trying to figure out if it would make sense for me to, split the baby, so to say, or if that's just like you can like it and you can still take courses like your 5 electoral courses and you can fit them in where you want them, or if I should, try to do that at all, or maybe it's just better to just stick with teaching, and then keep my dreams somewhere else.
No. I would say, sorry, Sarah, I just completely stepped on you. I would say you don't have to split any babies and you don't have to decide now. Like you don't have to
Okay.
decide. You might say like I'm thinking about these two things and how to maybe combine them, and then you fall in love with something else, right? So
Sure.
lots of folks do. We're a very like multidisciplinary like English studies department, so you can really blend things in some really interesting ways. I've had
Okay.
folks like say like, how do I sort of take like a composition approach to a creative writing, like designing a creative writing course, or like really like blending across these categories. So yeah,
Okay.
you don't have to choose. We don't want you to have to choose.
Yeah.
I just
There's
asked because the application does make you pick one. Well,
yeah,
so in my statement of purpose, maybe I could be like, but also,
exactly.
okay,
Exactly.
understood.
Right.
Okay,
And
thank you.
you can change.
Okay.
And so when you combine them, it's at the moment, I'm trying to change it, but it's an informal process because we would end up creating something very unique to you. We would look because each track has slightly different requirements associated with it. If you really want to do something hybrid, we would create a track for you. So you would pick one that would be like on your transcript, but then we would craft a program of study that spoke to your interests. There
Okay.
is room if you are just like, I want to do lit track and stick with the lit track pre-prescribed requirements to do a lot of pedagogical stuff. Same thing if you pick pedagogy. It's really what do you want on your
Yeah,
transcript,
that's
right?
what I was saying is like
Yeah.
there's enough room to do both, even if
Mhm.
one is like the official label.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we
Okay.
can revisit that question when you're here and we can figure out what that might look like as you get a little bit under your belt and maybe one side of the baby feels more enjoyable than the other, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And the first day of classes is in August, right? August
September.
20. Oh, September. September. Do you
Yeah.
have like a day? Sorry, I'm trying to.
It's usually right
Tuesday
after
after
Labor
Labor
Day.
Day.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So your assistantship would usually begin like the week before that, and we would have orientations that you would be required to attend. So you should kind of
Okay.
plan on being
Right.
available from the last week of August. But classes officially begin like the day after usually the day after Labor Day, like early
Okay.
September.
I just asked because I'm currently in Hawaii, but I'm I know it's so terrible here. No snow anywhere. And I'm supposed to be in Romania for something else. So I'm trying to
Mhm.
make sure I get back on time to do this. And I just want to
Mhm.
make sure that that was accurate, what I thought.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
So if classes start September 8th, right? Then we would have orientations at the very earliest the week beginning August 24th. So you should, if you plan to be like in the area by August 24th, you'd be totally fine. And that would give you a bit of ground time to be oriented.
Fantastic. Thank you. That's my last question, swear.
Well, this is like perfect timing. Any final questions, closing comments or thoughts? Well, thank you all so much for giving us an hour and a half of your lives. If anything comes up, if you have specific questions tailored to you, if you want to double check anything or go over anything, please reach out. As Lauren said in the chat, we are a program and an institution that wants you to succeed. We want you to put together a good application so that you feel good about yourself and you feel confident and that we feel confident in you. So don't be shy. You can never ask too many questions. That sense of community that Sumaya and Christina talked about, we take seriously and we're here to help. So I really look forward to reading all about you. Have a wonderful evening. Enjoy wherever you are. And hopefully we'll get to see each other again soon. Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Recording.